Last week and the week before, there was a gigantic outburst of wild speculation surrounding Kim Jong-un and the DPRK. The young leader had not been in the media for about 1 month due to illness, and this is what sparked off a ton of the most vile of anti-DPRK media to make the most outlandish of accusations. And they, of course, as usual, had nothing to back them up and were shown to be false. Kim Jong-un was recently diagnosed with gout. It is a medical condition usually characterized by recurrent attacks of acute inflammatory arthritis, a red, tender, hot, swollen joint. The metatarsophalangeal joint at the base of the big toe is the most commonly affected. It is caused by elevated levels of uric acid in the blood. The uric acid crystallizes, and the crystal deposits in joints, tendons, and surrounding tissues. It is a common ailment that is experienced by many people. There is nothing remarkable or significant about it. It is also more likely to happen to an overweight person, such as Kim Jong-un. This, of course, was even broadcast in the DPRK media. They said the young leader, despite discomfort, continued to lead the people. From there, he took a rest to rest his leg because it's painful to walk on gout. Of course, from that, as I said, the most virulent of anti-DPRK media went into spin mode to try to turn this into something and to give out their usual baseless, wild accusations of what's going on, that usually being Vice and nknews.org. An elite group of exiles from North Korea gathered in September in the Netherlands to discuss the state of the regime they used to serve. The keynote address was given by Jang Jang-soon, formerly a key member of Kim Jong-il's propaganda machine. Included in Jang's speech was a surprising assertion: North Korea is in the midst of a civil war. According to Jang, a former counterintelligence official and poet laureate under Kim Jong-il, members of the Government Organization and Guidance Department, a powerful group of officials that once reported only to Kim Jong-il, have stopped taking orders from his son, Kim Jong-un. The OGD, Jang says, has effectively taken control of the country, and conflict is simmering between factions that want to maintain absolute control over the economy and others seeking to gain wealth through foreign trade and slightly more open market. On one hand, it's people who want to maintain a regime monopoly, Jang told Vice News through a translator in an interview Thursday. On the other hand, it's not likely people are fighting against the regime, but in a policy sense, they want to take advantage to get influence. It's not actually consciously civil war, but these are two incompatible forces at play. So once again, we find them saying two things. It's a civil war, but it's not a civil war. Somebody's fighting the government, but they're not fighting the government. And of course, saying both things, either way, no matter what happens, they can claim to be right. Now, there's been a lot of wild speculation about what's been happening to him. Chosun Ilbo, the South Korean newspaper, said that he injured his ankles wearing Cuban heels touring factories. Yonhap Agency said that he was taking time off to deal with health issues surrounding his weight. All of this from anonymous sources, of course. As usual, during his absence due to illness, all manner of ridiculous speculation took place. First, it was claimed that the country had been sealed off due to a coup. However, I spoke to Young Pioneer Tours, and they said they had 2 tour groups in the country at the time, and that the claim was false. This sealing off the country due to an ongoing coup was a complete fabrication by several media outlets. In answering to the claims, the Chinese government took to their version of Twitter to deny the accusation. The U.S. State Department spokeswoman Jen Psaki said that they had no confirmation of any such reports. While Kim Jong-un was off recovering, it was claimed by a Japanese-based magazine, The Diplomat, that his sister, Kim Jo-young, had actually taken over control of the country. It was stated that she took a number 2 position, but actually had control over the country, still answering to him. This claim that they broadcast, of course, came from a South Korean think tank. Some say Hwang Bo-so, the director of the General Political Bureau of the Korean People's Army, may have assumed the number 2 spot. But given that it was confirmed at this time, we can say that Hwang is just a shadow, and Kim Yo-jong is the second in command of North Korea. So in other words, there really is nothing to back up this statement whatsoever. Now, what this is probably really about is the high-profile meetings that took place between the North and the South. Now, these did occur at a time when Kim Jong-un was injured and had somebody fill in for him to take care of this. And it was thought that because of this, perhaps there was a coup going on right now, and that the potential deals that were looking to be made, most likely economic ones, possibly over the Kaesong Industrial Park, may have been somewhat more advantageous for the South if a coup, a pro-free market coup, had been taken place. But thankfully, it hadn't, and Kim Jong-un reappeared in the media. Of course, when this happened, all of a sudden, the South started to conduct an act of provocation, finding out that he was actually still around, which leads me to believe that they thought he was gone. When they found out he's still there, they got angry. In retaliation for the discovery that Kim Jong-un was returning to work, the South leaflet campaign was begun by some South Korean activists, who released about 200,000 balloons with propaganda leaflets against Pyongyang. The North Korean military had shot them down, while the South said that some of those shots had landed across the border. Following this, the firing continued between both sides for nearly 2 hours, although no casualties were reported. Because of this, the North has all but called off the talks. North Korean media respond to this by calling it irresponsible and an act of provocation, which it was. This was actually a very foolish thing to do, given that there is a high-profile meeting going on right now. It would seem like it was almost intended to antagonize them while this was taking place. And this is what gives me the belief that they probably thought there was a coup going on, and this was their retaliation for finding out one actually really wasn't. I mean, this is a very dangerous situation. You can't just go doing stuff like that knowing that there's going to be, bullets flying across the border back and forth. An incident like this could end up triggering another war. But much to their dismay, Kim Jong-un is indeed back. Kim Jong-un is back. He gave field guidance to the newly built Wisong Scientist Residential District. The residential district consists of multi-story apartment houses, 24 blocks, schools, hospital, nursery, kindergarten, public buildings, including various welfare service facilities and parks. Speaking to the public, Kim Jong-un said, "Our scientists are patriots who are devoting all their lives to building a rich and powerful nation, convinced that though there is no frontier in science, they have a socialist motherland and are under the care of the mother party. There is nothing to spare for them. It is necessary to project and treat scientists preferentially and always take care of them." This shows, once again, the anti-DPRK media has completely fabricated every single one of their claims. This happens every time there's an incident. They quote some kind of unknown source, some unnamed South Korean intelligence agent, or in this case, a former person who had left the country, or a South Korean think tank, that all this wild speculation about what has happened, and then essentially declare it to be truth, when in fact this was anywhere near the truth of what happened. Essentially nothing happened. Exactly what the North Korean media had actually said. He had gout, he took some time off to rest his leg, and that was it. Now he's back. It's like the man isn't even allowed to get an ailment without there being some kind of wild, insane speculation. And this accusation that they had sealed off the border because an ongoing coup was an outright fabrication. It was an outright direct lie. Tour groups were still bringing people in and having your tours there. And thank you to Pioneer Tours for letting me know what was going on with them to refute the claim of the border being shut. But once again, we find a huge hole, a lie in their story about what is going on, having no idea what they're talking about, but then everybody taking it as though it was true. And they continue to do this over and over and over again. Present a story that's ridiculous, end up having nothing to support it, and finding out that it's a complete fraud, it's not real, and then everybody just pretending that they weren't wrong, and continue to believe the crazy stories they have always been fed about the DPRK. Thank you for watching. Please comment and rate the video. If you liked it, hit subscribe or check out some of these other great videos. If you wish, share it on social media. While you're at it, why don't you follow me on Twitter? And if you got time, go on over to the MRN bookstore and check out some of the latest books available.